And we're live? I think we're live. We'll go with it. Hey everybody, welcome back. Tony here. I am working on installing a NESRGB mod into this Nintendo. So if you remember last time, this is the board that we're going to install. Here is a little riser card that's needed for the top loader. And then finally, here is the PPU. There's the PPU. In the first stream, I worked for an hour to try and get this little guy out of PCB, and I was having terrible time because basically I couldn't get the solder off of all the pins and out of the vias. I was using just a standard bulb style. Ooh, I hear Sean's alive. Okay. I was using a standard bulb style desoldering iron, but that didn't work. That worked out for most of the pins except the ones I couldn't get the solder out. A lot of them were in the ground plane, so the PCU was just sucking all the heat away. So my options were pretty simple. I could go out and buy a desoldering gun that actually has a vacuum pump on it. That's expensive. The Hako one is $200, the cheap one's $100, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to, I'm probably not going to use this very often, so that's kind of a big spend. So I improvised, and if anybody knows me, I improvise a lot. I come up with some crazy ideas. So, here's what I did. So this is my desoldering iron. This is a straw off of a water bottle that I don't care about. That's in my recycling bin. So little straw that goes down into those water bottles. So I took that, shoved it on here. It actually melted. It actually melted once, and I had to cut the end off of it because I literally lost vacuum. There you go. And then I took the hose of my shop vac. So shove the straw onto the soldering iron. Shove that vacuum cleaner up the hose, and when I need to suction it, I just put my thumb over it and I had continuous suction, and amazingly that worked, and I didn't set my shop vac on fire. I didn't set my house on fire, and I don't recommend doing this. I am I posted on Twitter. I am a what did I put? I'm an untrained amateur, and so bad things can happen. But I did. As soon as I got that solder off, the EPU fell out the board, and I've had it in the little foam that the RGB kit came with since then. That was last week. So the hard part's done. I managed to get the PPU out. There is no damaged traces on the board. There's no damaged vias. There is a little bit of solder flux left. I'll clean that up once everything is done. And hopefully, by the time I'm done tonight, I'll have all of this wired together and I can test it. I probably won't be able to plug it in and test tonight. I probably won't have time, but that'll come another night. And I can't do it here at my workbench because I really don't have a TV to plug the RGB mod into anyway. So let's get started. I am just going to go over to Tim Worthington's website, the guy who actually made the NES mod. I'm just going to follow his guide for installing the RGB mod. His guide's for an AB Famicom, which is the Japanese equivalent to this, that has like a serial port coming out the side, but it's practically the same. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our dip socket, shove it down into the board, make sure that's nice and snug. flip it over. Soldering iron. I'm just gonna get a little bit of solder on the soldering tip. The soldering iron on? Yeah, it's on. Turn it down a little bit. That's not solder. That is a paper clip. That will make a difference. That aside, I don't want to damage that. All right, so let's get started on this. A little bit of solder. Sort of hold the package close to the board, and I want to put a little bit of heat on one of these pins. I'm going to put a little flux on it because it is not flowing. So again, I'm just using some cheap old soldering flux from Radio Shack. It is like 10 years old at this point. But you know what? It still works. And it still works. Still flows. Here's this other pin on this side. And a little bit more solder. And once I have this secure, the rest of them should be pretty easy flow. Okay. That's it. At least that's the start. So now we have our dip secure, and now I'm just going to go over all the pins of the dip package and flow some solder onto them. Make nice good joints. Take my brush, paint some happy little trees. And just go, and then I'm just gonna go across. Fortunately, you probably can't see very well, can you? Because my camera. Putting a little bit of solder. I'm not touching the soldering iron, as YouTube commenters like to complain about. And heating up the pin, I'm heating up the pad. I am touching the solder to the pad and the pin at the same time. And the solder is flowing onto the pin. All right. Give that a good look over. Oh, I missed the very last pin. Okay, I think I'll be okay. I'm just going to try that pin one more time just to make sure. It is scratched a little bit from all the trying I did to get the solder out to remove the PPU. So I just want to make sure it's got a good connection, and I think it does. And if we need to, we can test it. And again, that's a ground, so that's the ground for the PPU. Sean asked, rookie mistake, what do I need to complain about now? Because I will. Sean, I work with Sean, so he's probably the only one in this stream, which means he's really bored tonight. Aren't you, Sean? Now I gotta wait for the YouTube lag. See a response. Alright. Now we're just gonna go over the second row of pins. Nice and easy. Ron says maybe. Alright. Okay. So now you can... Camera that won't focus. Why won't you focus? Focus. Hey, you focused. Oh. Yeah, there's my little scratched up pin. That's in the ground. I think it will be okay. There's the rest of the pins. Decent amount of solder. I have to check for shorts, but I think it's okay. Now we have a removable socket, which makes life so much easier going forward. So, next step. Insert the round pins in the socket strip and place the adapter board on top. Apply pressure so the pins go into the socket. So I got to get out this guy. So if you have a front-loading NES, you do not need you don't have to worry about this board. This is only needed for the top-loading NES just because of how small it is. Let's see, motherboard. These are all the same, right? He says round. Take the round ones. Shove in the socket. Motherboard, and insert the round strips into the socket strip. Place the adapter board on top. Apply pressure so the pins go into the socket. Ensure the pin. Install the adapter backwards. It will not work. All right. So there's actually two sets of pin strips. One is round. I'm not going to focus. I'm going to focus. One is round, one is square. And apparently we plug the round one into the socket. A little bit. Take our board. Our board lined up. Shove it in. There we go. Now it clicked. Now I have sticky solder on my hands. And now we solder this. Get my happy little trees. That's not the right soldering iron. You having fun there, Sean? I know you are. I'm coiling my soldering iron cord. I'm sure somebody would tell me if I had a good soldering iron, I wouldn't have to deal with that. And I'm just heating up the pin, heating up the pad, touching the solder to the pin and pad. You can actually see when things are hot enough, it starts, there's a little bit of solder on the tip of my iron already, and it just flows off the iron. And I just touch the solder into that flow, and it just immediately melts. And it makes me happy. That or the fumes are getting to me. One or the other. Yep, John's having fun. Good. Remember, people, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell for instant notifications. I don't post hardly anything to this channel, so I don't think you have much to worry about from me. I'll say one thing about that's not great about this Radio Shack Flux is it is sticky. Also old, so that's probably has something to do with it. But it's definitely not no clean. Although I can't talk, I've not used no clean before, so I don't know how it is. Based on videos I've seen. Yeah, I'm just touching the pin, touching the pad. Solder flows, I touch a little bit of solder in there. Not adding a lot of solder, just enough to connect the two together. And try not to inhale the flux fumes. Alright, let's have that look over. That looks pretty good. There we go. You can see the brownness is just residue from the flux. Those connections all look pretty good. Alright. Now, motherboard did that. The fingers to solder in place, then turn the board upside down, solder the 40 pin socket to the bottom. Okay. Gather the parts kit. So now I'm going to take the other strips. And my next job is to solder these guys into, bring it up. Okay. I gotta take that pin strip, I gotta solder it into that line of holes and the matching holes on this side. Pretty straightforward. One thing I'm probably going to do, is I'm just going to set it here in actually, where's that? Okay. Here's the other dip package. This dip package is going to go on top of the board. And so I'm going to take it, I'm not going to solder it in. I'm not going to push it all the way in. I'm just going to put it in enough that it lines the pins up straight. take it out of the foam so I don't potentially ruin the PPU. And I'm going to just set it in there a little bit. I don't want to push it all the way in because I don't think it's not designed to go in that dip package. Definitely not. Set that aside. Set the main board aside. This out. Oh well. My helping hand's going to help me here. Again, cheap pair of helping hands. There we go. That's pretty stable. I'm going to get the corners first. Solder. There's solder. Okay. You still awake, Sean? Outside. Okay. Hey, I think I'm doing this right. I think maybe the mat is preventing the autofocus. Might be too busy. Yeah, you're probably right. It's also a Logitech webcam, so it is what it is. It's what you get for $100. Next step up is $400, and well, that's a lot of money for a camera for streaming. And I'm not making money off this, so yeah, I'm not spending $400 on a camera for streaming. Not that I haven't been tempted. I just touched the solder again. It's sticky. Why do I keep touching the solder that's sticky? Solder, 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 solder. Megan is watching too, so me watching on the Xbox and chatting via the mobile app is 2 legitimate viewers. Woo! I think that's a record. I think. Yeah, we'll call it a record. There's a lot more viewers to go before I can start monetizing my YouTube channel. I don't plan to be monetizing my YouTube channel. That requires a lot of work. Who am I, Linus? All right. That looks decent. That looks decent. Come on. Come on. Walk out the background. Walk out the background. There we go. Yeah, okay. 2 rows of pins soldered. Next up, solder in the dip. Now I just got solder in the dip package. Notch is important in orientation, so now we're going to just drop that into that. Pretty loose. Take some. That's going to take quite a bit of solder to fill in. All right, helping hands, move, helping hands. I know you want to help. Wait, if I'm on the I'm on the big TV, Sean. Oh boy. I'm not ready for that kind of pressure. Like I said, I know Sean. He won't admit it though. I'm taking the easy man way out because I have to hold the dip socket on the board to get a good fit. So I'm just putting solder on the iron, touching it. Solder just flows off the iron onto the pin, onto the pad, and life is good. This is gonna be fun. Now I have to solder next to these pin strips without melting the plastic of the pin strips. I'll paint my happy little trees. Now I'm gonna have to go in this way. I'm probably gonna need that. Helping hands, alright, come back, helping hands. Just need you to keep the board from moving. Alright, we should be good there. So this should be fun. I really can't. I'm going to start on this. I really can't. The iron is blocking my view as much as yours. So. Yeah, it takes a little bit more heat to get things to solder together here. And more solder, because those round pins of the dip package are a lot more skinnier than the vias that they're going into. So there's a lot more space to fill up with the solder. So I have to go a little bit slower on this one. Feeling a little bit more flux than I'd like to. I'm gonna pay for that later. Entertaining YouTube videos, soldering. Through a webcam, they can't really see what I'm doing. Riveting. I know Sean's at the edge of his seat, isn't he? I'm gonna go back over some of the pins that need a little bit more solder. That looks pretty good. All right. Halfway there. Zen, Sean says. Maybe next we need to do some ASMR. Probably would have sounded better. I was going to use my 15. No, 2000. Yeah, my 15-year-old USB headset for this instead of my instead of my microphone. But the headset didn't like being plugged into a USB extension cable. So if I cut out, it's probably because of the noise gate in OBS. I'm sorry. Just have to deal with it. Come on. Man, this takes a lot of solder. Halfway there. Last pin. A little bit of solder to these that look a little flat. There. Simple as that. It's a little toasty. And all I did, I had to solder. Yo, focus. Ignore the grid in the background. Ignore the grid in the background. There we go. Yeah. So all of those pins. That's what we just soldered. Looks pretty good. Okay. So that is done. Bring this guy back over. Now solder the NES board and the adapter board together as shown. Okay, so now I gotta take this board back out. I gotta solder it to those pins. When all is said and done, this installation will look something like that. Let's get this board back out without bending pins. Hey, I got it out without bending pins. Yay me. Actually, before I solder this together permanently, I'm gonna scrub this flux off. Alright. Alcohol, toothbrush, microfiber cloth, this should dilute the solder flux enough. Yeah, there we go. Definitely better. That stuff is sticky. It kind of turns, it's kind of like syrup when it's done. It just dries, turns hard. Alright. Solder's all cleaned off of that. I'm going to try to do the same thing here. Because once this is soldered together, I am never getting it apart again. I hope not. There's one row of pins clean. Here is 2 rows of pins clean. Probably should have done that in there first. Oh, I'm dropping frames. Why am I dropping frames? Computer, why am I dropping frames? How can I be overloaded? There's no reason for this computer to be dropping frames. Oh, no, maybe, no, yes, no. Alright, we're back to normal. I dropped 5% of all my frames tonight have been dropped for some reason. I do not know why. I want to blame OBS. I can get in there and get those clean a little bit. We'll give it a shot. Yeah, I really should have cleaned those before I soldered the dip package on. Hindsight's 2020. Actually, I think hindsight's like 2010. It's just better all around. Go. Clean that up. We're all ready to go on to the next thing. Move the flammable item out of the way. So it goes down like that. And then that goes down like that. Line it up. Line it up. Your ASMR scrubbing needs. Okay, I'll remember that for next time. I'll try to make my ASMR scrubbing better. Okay. Now just solder this bad boy together. And then the easy soldering's done. Because so far I've just been following Tim's instructions. After this, we have to get a little bit more creative. Yeah, I think next time if I am going to do some projects like this, I might get some better solder. There's the gel stuff that Louis Rossmann uses for his MacBook and iPhone repairs. There's no clean liquid solder that Voltar uses a lot. Yeah, probably get some better solder next time. All right. Go down this line of pins. Can't see because of my light. Touch. Low. Touch. Low. Low. Touch. Low. Touch. Low. Touch. Low. Touch. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. All right. Let's have a look at that. Not too bad. I got one pin that's got a big blob on it. There we go. Much better. Again, just going down the line, ignore the grid in the background. Just going down the line, soldering each one of those pins. All right. I'm all sticky from solder. Let's clean this thing up. How's this for you, Sean? Is that better? Just back and forth. Back and forth. Yeah. And that is assembled. Good, I'm glad you like the ASMR. That's assembled. Got the riser board, the dip, we got the pins, the riser board, the dip, all soldered to the board here. Do need to go through and see. Let's see. Solder that done. I do need to jumper some pads. So J3. I need to solder that pad so that the 5-volt regular in the NES powers this board, and then I need to solder J5, which will set this board to NTSC mode. I'm just wondering, can I just get this hot enough and solder without the flux? Next question, can I do this without ripping anything off the board? I've been known to do that before. Love the surface tension solder, just kind of follows the trace, follows the pad. Okay. Now those circuits are closed. And so this can now be installed into the console. There. Yay. Now, I do have one small problem. And I'm dropping frames again. Woo! Why am I dropping frames? I do have one small problem. When I installed this composite amp from Retro Fixes, part of the instructions was I have to pull the NTSC signal off of the PPU, which comes off that last pin. And so you're supposed to cut the pin. Well, I tried not cutting the pin, and then I tried just desoldering it and pulling it out. The pin still broke. So I gotta come up with a solution for that, and I think my best option, I don't have it, I'll have to get it down. Oh. Too much stuff in the workshop. I am just going to take a leg off a resistor that I have no idea what the value is. I'm going to shove it down in into that slot, and then I'm going to solder that to the PPU. You can't see that, can you? All right. So. I'm going to take the leg of the resistor, if it would focus. 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 Yo. Focus. No. Fine, I'll do it myself. Oh. No, it's not what I asked for. Okay. Every time I right click on my webcam input, it adds an audio input, OBS. And I'm dropping frames again. Woo! Okay. Well, what I plan to do is make this silly webcam just go there. Okay. So resistor into pin, the PPU into pin, into dip packet, into dip socket, and then solder pin to PPU, and then cut the leg. Or cut the leg first, I don't know yet, we'll see. Because according to the schematic for the RGB bot, even though it can generate an NTSC, a composite NTSC signal, or a composite signal, it's pulling that signal and using it as a comparator. So it'd be great if I didn't have to worry about that pin, but unfortunately I think I do. Just going over some of the pins that has a little bit of solder left over and cleaning them off. Getting rid of any burrs. Chat, come back here, chat. Back here, chat. There it is. All right. I'm gonna shove. I'm not shove it in there yet. A resistor into hole. Of PPU. I could move that pin, but I'm really worried that I will break it. I really don't want to move it if I don't. I really don't want to bend the pin back down if I don't have to. I'm just gonna that's why I'm kind of rigging this together. And I'll deal with the consequences later. Famous last words. Flush cut cutters. Okay. Positive signal for PPU has been reattached. So now, next step. Last video I took USB header, which is dirty. Gotta clean it off. So I am swapping out the composite output of this NES, which originally it was RF only, for a Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 / GameCube multi-AV out connector. So I can use just regular NES cables for consoles made during those generations. So again, I found this old USB front I/O cable. This is out of a computer that my family bought back in 2000, and it just happens to have 10 wires, and I just happen to need 10 wires to connect up all of these connectors. There's actually 12. This is audio. This is going to go to a different location, I think, maybe, probably. We'll see. And so, what I'm going to do now is figure out how long of a cable I need to make. So here is my back panel connector. I'm just going to unscrew that. Top, cover that in there, cover back on the bottom. You sleep yet, Sean? And there, now we have a multi-AV out socket. That's going to go right here on the back of the NES. I'm just going to put the screws back in this guy. Tolerance is a little off on this connector. It's 3D printed by NESRGB Industries. It's a little more narrow than it needs to be for this Nintendo. Nope, Sean says he's still here. That's amazing. All right. So just putting that back where it's going to go, where its final resting place. And then I'm going to route the cable around, because I got to solder it all. I got to solder the cable to all of these yeah, all these pads. So I'm going to figure out the best way to route cables. Looks like it's going to be that. And because I'm terrible, I'm going to add myself enough slack to screw up like three or four times. Voltar would be ashamed of me. That'll be enough. I mean, I could get adding myself like that much just to be safe. I know you're supposed to run the cable, these signal cables, as short as you can, but I just don't trust myself. Too late now. No take backs. Okay, so the fun part is I need to figure out all of these wires, I need these pins, and they're obviously not in order. So I have a list. This is the pinout, the pad pinout of the NESRGB. Down here was my attempt to remember how I soldered that together. I got the cable backwards at one point when I first started, so my original notes are wrong, but that's okay. Like, I wrote red for this, that's not red. This is now red. We have 5 volts, ground, PPU, that's PPU, composite signal, that is C-sync, that's the sync signal, red, green, blue. V is composite video, Y is the Luma signal, C is the chroma signal, ground, and then B and A is the audio input from the CPU, and then O is the audio output. Again, I'm probably not going to be using that. I'm going to go off of, there is an audio signal that went into the RF modulator right here next to the multi-AV out. So I'm probably just gonna go back there because the NES, it doesn't have true stereo. It has the voices off the CPU come off 2 different pins, and so people can make pseudo stereo by separating the voices on the NES. You could do that and make that stereo, or what this does, this combines it back together and outputs it. I mean, I could just take a ribbon cable and do that. And what? So my notes are encrypted? Yeah, my notes are encrypted. And they're encrypted from myself. So next thing I gotta do is I gotta split this wire bundle apart. It would have been great if the output of the RGB mod lined up with the multi-AV out, but it doesn't. It might line up more with the DIN connector that this kit comes with. This kit comes with a mini DIN 9 connector, the same style connector you see on the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive and the Master System, and probably like the Turbo Graphics and many other non-Nintendo consoles. They come with this mini DIN connector that has all these same signals. I'm not using that because I'm weird. All right. Okay. I am probably going to do these one at a time because they are not the only two that line up is ground and chroma. Let's see. Pause it. Yeah. So ground and chroma are the only two that line up with this. That's pins 5 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So these two pins are the only one. Those two pins are the only ones that are going to be together. Everything else is going to be overlapping like crazy. Fun part is I gotta strip these, and I don't think my strippers go small enough. We shall see. Am I dropping frames again? This is very annoying. Hey, it's stripped. Yeah. Strip all of these back. And I know they make better strippers. You can get those strippers that you stick it into the end and it just strips all the wires at once. That's pretty cool. I don't have that. These strippers come from a electronics kit I got in college over 10 years ago. I mean, they're better than some strippers. Work really well. As long as I can strip them without cutting wires. We'll be good. More to go. There I go dropping frames again. It's gonna be something stupid like my computer's been running for you know what, let's just try it without I cut one short. Okay. Giving the wires, internal wires, just a little bit of a twist, and then I'll tin them, and I'll try to follow my terrible wiring guide. And hope this works. All right. Touching your nose with a solder. What am I doing? What am I doing? Just dipped my soldering iron in flux. And I'm just putting a little bit of solder on my soldering iron. I'm just touching the fluxed wires. Just enough to flow a little bit of solder on them. Plain and simple. Doesn't take very much. Just a little bit of contact, a little bit of flux, a little bit of solder, a lot of smoke. Got a wire sticking out on that one. Okay. My table is sticky from the solder flux. Okay, so move that out of the way. Where are we starting? 5 volts is wire number 2. Put a little bit of solder flux on the pads there. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and just reapply solder to these so I can just touch them with the iron and drop the wire on. This should make things easier. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. Because I don't plan on using the PPU composite signal. I'm going to use the regenerated composite signal off of the RGB board. Now, can I solder? The question is, can I solder left-handed? 5 volts. Okay. Ground. 5 and 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to move 6 over. This is really tricky. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven is right there next to the ground. Perfect. Like I planned it that way. Not really. I didn't plan it that way. Tweezers. I need some tweezers. Where are my tweezers? There's my tweezers. Okay. So far, so good. Red is number 9. Green is number 10. Blue is number 8. V is number 1. I gotta take 1 and bring it over. I'm gonna bring 3, 4, and 5 over. So peel that back a little bit more. Bring those pins over, so now and 3. Y and 4. Oop, I want to do that. Peel 4 back just a the hair so I can get it. 4 was the one I cut short by accident. And then finally 5. Okay. Okay. That's it. In theory, I mean, I don't have audio plugged up. I don't have the... Next thing I got to do is... Audios. Okay, the next thing I got to do is figure out what I'm going to do with this. is a little switch. Actually, I'm not sure if I really want to deal with it. The switch is designed so I can change what the colors look like coming off the NESRGB board. The reason behind that is the PPU doesn't actually generate RGB video. It outputs a composite sync signal, so there's no direct translation from what this is generating to the RGB color space. So this board uses an FPGA and kind of recreates it, but you can change what the colors actually look like. So I'm thinking, just for now, for testing, I may just jumper together with no switch, and then I'm probably going to come back. I'm going to try to shove the switch right there. There's enough room. There's enough room. There should be enough room. I gotta make sure, because I gotta put the I gotta put the shield back here. Forgot about the shield. But to put it there, and I could just click. But I'm probably, for now, I'm probably not going to do that. That resistor go. I'll just jumper it together really easily, and then just call it a day for now. And at least I can test this to make sure everything works. And if everything works, then yay for me. I actually pulled this off. I do still need to put the sound back in. That goes back to like I said, it's one of these 3 pins here. One of these is ground, the other one's composite signal, the other one's audio. I can't remember which one it is exactly. I'll have to look that up on the RetroFix's guide on the RGB, on the composite amp. It has been an hour and a half. I'm getting close. I think I'm going to wrap up tonight's stream and plug this in, see if it even works. If it doesn't, then we can have I'll go through I'll try some troubleshooting, and then we can maybe do a stream again talking about what I did wrong, because I'm kind of scared I did something wrong. We'll find out. We will find out. And I think I know I got some wires frayed. That's going to cause me problems if I don't get them taken care of. I got red trying to jumper over to sync, and a few others. Hey, it is together. So it's been fun. Sean, thanks for stopping by. I'll have to wait for you to actually hear that. Until Megan, thanks for stopping by and watching a boring YouTube live stream. And I still don't know why I'm dropping frames. Let's see, is there anything else to cover? No, I think that's pretty much it. So, as always, people, have fun. Bye. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you know when the next thing's coming up. Yay! Is that everything? I think that's everything. All right, bye-bye.